So, you're new to cello, you got your cello, you go to play it, and it sounds like that. What do you do? Most videos that you can find on how to tune are going to show you how to tune by ear. They're going to have a note that's going to play, you're going to listen to it, and then you're going to compare yours to that note and make adjustments as necessary. That's a really important skill to have, and you should learn how to do that. But it's really hard for a beginner, and a lot of times you won't have the ear for that yet. So a really good thing to learn in the meantime is how to use an electronic tuner or an app. Now, I use an app called GuitarTuna, like tuna fish. And you might be thinking, well, I don't play guitar, I play the cello. I know. But it's a great app. It has multiple instruments in it, including the cello. And it has this really cool clicking sound that it makes when you get your string in tune, and it makes you just feel really good about yourself. So right now, go ahead and find the GuitarTuna app. It should be it's free. You can find it on any of the app platforms that you can find. I'll show you how to use it in a second. Before we do that, we should talk about the mechanics of the cello a little bit. So you probably know that you have these pegs here, and those are really good for tuning. However, you don't want to start with those. Those are for big, major adjustments. Later I'll show you how to use them. Before you do though, these little screws down here on your tailpiece are called fine tuners, and that's exactly what they do. They make small adjustments so you can get really honed in on the note that you want it to sound like. You want to start with these. And then if these are not able to get you to where you need to be, if you're so far off that they don't have the range, then you go to the pegs here. So those are the two ways, the pegs and the fine tuners on how to tune. We should probably review the strings. So you probably know you've got 4 strings. This is the A, D, G, C, from high to low. We're going to start with the A. So hopefully you've got that tuner app. I am going to pull mine up on my phone here. When you first open this up, you'll see that it says guitar. And you don't want that. So you want to go to the top left corner here where it says standard. We're going to change our instrument. We're going to go to violin family. And there's cello. And now we have a cello setting. So, starting with the A string, I'm going to play my A. Now, I'm going to use my bow. If you can use your bow, you should use your bow. If you haven't learned how to hold your bow yet, you can go ahead and pluck. It's not going to be as resonant, but it should still work. So, here's my A. Now, the tuner uses the microphone in your phone. So if it asks you to turn your microphone on, say, go ahead, tuner app, you can use my microphone. Mine says I'm too low. So what I want to do is tighten this screw down here on the A fine tuner. I'm going to tighten it slowly. And then I'm going to check it again. It's getting a little closer. If you can speed it up, you can do this. You can reach over with one hand and bow and turn at the same time. If you're not comfortable doing that, that's okay. You can just check, tune, tune. So I'm turning, I'm getting closer, boom, click. That's my A. We're going to repeat that process for the rest of these strings. But I'll just do this really quick. D is next, super low. You may not be able to go that fast. That's okay. Next we have G. Same thing, that one's a little closer. Now you may be noticing all of these say too low. It's more common to be too low than it is to be too high most of the time. Because as your strings are just kind of sitting on the cello, they're constantly being stretched. There's a lot of pressure and tension on those strings. And so the tendency is for them to get looser or to sound lower. Every once in a while you might be a little bit too high, and so you would just turn it the opposite way in that situation. We got one more string, so let's do our C. Hey, that one's good. you might have that situation. That's good. So, you know, beautiful. Okay, what if you get in a situation where you run out of screw on your fine tuner? Well, now it's time to use the peg. So, I'm just gonna mess this up on purpose. Just let's do it with all of them. First thing you wanna do, you wanna make sure that the screw, the fine tuner, is out. So you wanna loosen it pretty significantly. Not all the way, because you wanna have a little room in case you need to go higher, but you wanna make it so that it's pretty loose. That way you have room once you get the peg set to be able to use the fine tuner again. Now that'll make you probably pretty low, super low. Now, in this situation, because we're making such big dramatic changes, your tuner might freak out. It might think that you're playing the wrong string because the note is so far off from the note you want it to be, so you gotta make sure that the letter in the middle says the right thing. So we'll start with the A again. I played this. Mine says D, because I'm closer to the D than I am to the A. And it says too high, but it says too high for a D. So I just need to check and make sure I know, okay, it should be an A, it's really low. It's not too high, it's too low. So what I'm gonna do, this is really important. If you just turn this, first of all, it's hard to turn, so be careful. If you just turn it, it's not gonna stay. So you have to push in at the same time that you turn. I use my right hand, because I'm right-handed, and I brace with my left. And so I'm gonna turn this, and I'm gonna use my left hand to pluck. Here we go. You can hear it changing, getting closer. You don't have to get it perfect, because we have the fine tuner. I've been doing this for like 18 years, so I've gotten good at it, but you don't have to get it perfect with the peg. Just get it close and then use the fine tuner like we did before. Here's the D. Now that says G. I need to just check it and make sure, okay, that's too low, even though it says too high for a G. It should be a D, not a G. Here we go, we're on the right track. We're on the right track. Too far, you might do that. Again, you don't have to get it perfect. And I'm not actually perfect. There we go. Next we have the G. So low, it says it's a C. It's not, it's a G. So I'm gonna go higher. Getting closer, getting closer. Now I'm gonna finish this off with the fine tuner. Good. Okay, what you might notice is that the strings, if you go back and check them that you already tuned, they're not gonna stay because you're adjusting so many things, and when you adjust tension on one thing, a lot of times it'll affect the rest of them. So I might have to come back. We'll finish with the C first, but then we'll come back and go over it again. Here's my C. So low, we're getting faster. Not faster, we're getting higher. Pretty close, okay. We're gonna check this again. But now we're closer, so we can use our fine tuners again. There we go. So, that's quite the ordeal. Most of the time, it's not going to be like that. If you just tune pretty regularly, I would say probably every time you play you should check it. You won't have to use the pegs almost ever. If you just got your cello in tune by using that method, it's probably not going to stay for very long. The more you do it, the more accustomed your instrument will become to being in tune, and you won't have to do such dramatic changes. So, hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully your instrument is able to sing out the way it's supposed to, and you're ready to play. Thanks.